Welcome, viewers, current viewers on Twitch, and future viewers in the future to our G.I. Joe RPG Session 0.
Shout out 2050.
Woo!
Whoop, whoop.
Excellent.
Where we will be discussing the G.I. Joe game that we are going to have in somewhere between 2 and 4 weeks, depending on how long it takes us to finish up Joe's exciting, mysterious, and incredibly confusing Power Rangers game. And I say that in the best possible way.
You just
gotta
go with the flow.
Perfect.
I do go with the flow, which is why when I'm in that game, it doesn't bother me. It's when I try to think about it outside of that game where I'm just like, that's a bad idea.
I'm sure it's fine.
So Joel will be joining us momentarily. And we are going to go over and make some decisions about our game that will help me learn about player preferences so that I can have an idea of what I should include, because G.I. Joe means so much to so many people. It can mean anything from the 80s cartoon to the more recent, grittier comics to the live action movies and all kinds of other stuff, or the Marvel comics, which were grittier but not as gritty as the IWGs or IDW comics. Anyways, G.I. Joe means a lot of things to a lot of people, and we should figure out what that means for us so that I can come up, or at least modify the story I have in my brain to be able to be the best game it can be for this group and our viewers. So
Excellent.
If you want to follow along with a PDF of your own tonight, go check out this link right
Her.
her.
Sorry, Paige. Didn't mean to interrupt. I just want to drop that link in there real quick.
100%.
Because that's the one that I'm looking at on my screen, and this book's real pretty.
It's real pretty. I forgot what I was going to say, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It is real pretty. So the first thing that I want to talk about is safety tools. We discussed this in our pre-session and our porch lag on episode 10 of Power Rangers, which should be now live on YouTube for everybody to watch. We're going to be using a version of the RPG consent checklist, which is a form you can get online. And I'll be modifying that. It's based on horror games, so there'll be some things that need to be switched up a little bit for a G.I. Joe game. We're also going to be using the available card system that is built into Roll20. That is the stoplight color code. So it's going to be green, orange, and red. And we've already talked about what those mean, but red basically means...
Yeah, I was about to say, go over them again for our watchers who may not be familiar.
Sure. So green is generally not a card you'll play, but it just means keep going. Everything's good. Yellow is the either let's work around something or fast forward it or fade to black. And red is the something's real bad right now. We should stop, take a break, and then cut around it as appropriate. So those are these safety tools that we'll be using.
Are we going to go over the list now?
We're not going to go over the list now because I need to modify it away from horror.
Got it.
And we'll go from there.
Or do you? We've yet to pick a campaign theme, right?
We have yet to pick a theme. I do have some idea about tone, which we can talk about now, because before that I was going to go into some icebreaker questions for our viewers. I like how Ron is like, ugh.
Oh wait,
physically disgusted by the idea of people getting to know me.
I muted you all instead of me.
Yeah. I was like, why did he cough directly into
To the microphone.
I'm sorry. That was my bad.
Oh no!
Like, we got all into
I
your
like
throat.
it, Dragon Slayer.
Yes.
I am also
was-
in G.I. Joe meets Cthulhu. Like, why has that comic
Ooh.
not been written already?
That's Delta Green, right?
Yeah,
That is Delta
that is
Green.
absolutely Delta.
I always
Green.
thought Delta Green was more a different flavor of Joe. That's giving our conversation we just had. That's what I'm going to go with.
Okay.
I mean, you can run Joe as a horror game. That was not my intent based on previous conversations, but if people want to do a horror game, then
I mean,
we can
you
talk
can-
about that.
You can try, but I mean, the other constant theme we're going to have, of course, is also gelato.
Oh God, no.
I mean, so let me just share with you what I had down for tone, because I'm not sure that we're capable of doing darker than this. So my general tone was going to be dramatic with comedic elements. Think like a Marvel movie or any other franchise that's not Saw. So like a Fast and Furious movie, or I don't even think that like the more recent Bond films would probably be too much for this group as far as the serious to funny angle. Thing around a PG-13 rating. Expect fighting, bloodshed, no gore. There might be a little bit of body horror, but not very much. Similarly, expect moral choices and also expect weird stuff. Since one of the things that I enjoy most about G.I. Joe is the weird stuff.
Well, good for you. We do the weird, stuff.
But G.I. Joe for me was always Cobra's creating teleportation machines or weather control devices or, making biohazardous monsters to be super soldiers or...
Although some of those actually sounded like good things, right? Like teleportation, reducing everyone's carbon footprint for transportation. And I mean,
the
weather
control could have been amazing for philanthropic efforts.
I feel like we kind of need that.
Right.
I mean, the monsters, animals, not as much, but
Look,
that's not true.
Andrew.
Actually, genetically designed organisms can solve world hunger.
yes,
And-
also true.
Andrew, they're just building off of current invasive species removal.
True.
Okay. If you've got a bunch of small rabbits invading, then monstrous creatures that eat them.
Yeah, bring in dingoes.
Because dingoes will eat the babies.
Right. Dingoes. How do you get rid of dingoes? You need something slightly bigger.
Right.
Velociraptors.
And then to get rid of the velociraptors, Cthulhu. Boom. Back on Cthulhu.
The engineered animal that Ron was alluding to, like a chicken with like 12 legs, right?
Oh, so delicious.
Chickapede. And they eat the they eat the invasive species as well because they're terrible dinosaurs, effectively.
Yeah.
And the key is
Then you eat the chickens.
You want to make the animal smart enough that you can indoctrinate it with a religion where it considers being eaten by people as like the pinnacle of its life.
That's
so then
not
you don't
setting at all.
then you don't have to feel guilty anymore.
We need to change subjects. Ben, bring us back.
Animal that wants to
Right.
be eaten.
Right. So
I think you said icebreaker questions, Ben?
Yes. So this is taken from a short list of questions that you should ask your players during a session 0 to get to know them better.
Okay.
So
I promise to lie on all of them.
I feel like we're playing the dating game.
So it's only 3 questions. So that's the easy part. However, I'm sure that we will be able to extemporize to the point where this will fill up the entire 45 minutes before our break.
What?
No, we got to get to some Joe stuff.
That was the joke. All right. So, players, what is one thing that you love about tabletop RPGs?
I like defeating things.
I like setting things on fire, Ron Frankie.
I like talking about setting things on fire.
That's true. He talks a big fire game. I don't know how many times he's actually set significant things on fire.
You can count it on one hand. You can count it on one hand. It has happened.
Huh. Never
Anyway,
thought about that.
That's mine. There's a big bad, and you can just defeat it.
I like the endlessly interactive world.
Sounds good.
And the things in it that you can burn, apparently.
Don't go stepping on my stick.
I know.
And Joe, you will be happy to know you can acidify, I think sonicify, electrify, EME pulsify.
They really didn't talk about the sequela of this in the cartoon at all. People getting like melted and like sonicated.
Or attacks affecting their willpower instead of their toughness.
Oh yeah, and that's how you get them to give up their password and you drain their bank account.
I don't.
What is happening here?
That's most episodes of Joe. At the end, you drain someone's bank account.
So Coda, tell me something that's one thing you love about tabletop RPGs.
I miss the table. I'm gonna go with
living campaigns.
No, that's the exact opposite. I think I like the collaborative storytelling. Because like I'm trying to think about what is it about living campaigns I don't like, and it is how prescriptive they are. I had a bad experience many times.
All right, Joe or Paige, do you want to go, or do I need to call on somebody?
I do want to throw out there that Swooshfin threw up a yellow card for some topic. I'm not sure which one at this point.
I'm gonna say it was probably for the animals that religiously want to feed themselves to humans.
Not the draining of the.
Yeah,
I just wanted to be.
It, so let's move along.
I wanted to be pro-vegetarian.
Continuing.
I like the social aspect of it, right? Like being able to sit down and do something with your friends. I'm not a big partier, right? So it's a good excuse to get a group of friends together and do something for a while. Much the same way I like board games.
Fair
All right,
enough.
Paige, you're the last one.
I like character growth. I like it when a character has to make a decision and that there's consequences either way for that decision, and then they make that decision and have to deal with it, and it somehow changes them.
All right. Question 2. Are you most excited by combat, exploration, puzzles, or roleplay?
Roleplay.
I like
Combat.
Puzzles.
I like the exploration.
Gross.
Yeah, I think
Great,
it's
Joe.
for me as well.
All right.
Dragon Slayer is surprised by the lack of board game podcast plugging.
Listen to Ascent of Board Game.
I'm not a shill.
There you go. Thank you, Paige.
It's a great podcast.
Why should Joe have to shill when Paige will do it for us?
Exactly. It's great. Our powers combined.
That's perfect. Joe can be rebellious, and that way Paige can still do the shilling.
Definitely.
All right.
I'm not actually involved with that podcast, so I'm not shilling, I think.
So, follow-up question. Joe and Coda, what does exploration in a role-playing game mean to you? Because exploration is oftentimes, role-playing, you know what role-playing is. Combat has more rules dedicated to it than everything else in almost any RPG book. And exploration is kind of like whatever falls outside those two. So what does it mean to the two of you?
To me, it means discovering new about the universe that our characters all inhabit. As should be obvious if you've ever played in a game that I've run.
As is very obvious in the Power Rangers game that we are all playing right now, where we are constantly learning new truths about the universe.
Yeah, I think I like the more physical exploration, and I think a lot of that stems back from like what Joe said in the board games. Because like, I grew up on things like Dungeon Explorer board games where you kick in a door and there's a bunch of monsters there, or a puzzle and you never know what's going to be around the next corner.
All right.
How
Sounds
how
good
do
to
we
me.
deal with that thing? Which I guess could also fall into the puzzles category.
Fair enough.
Well, and that was my other follow-up. So, Andrew,
Yeah.
certainly in online games that I've played, I don't know about you, there's been a lot fewer, if any, puzzles because of the online format. Have you
It's
felt
true.
that that's the same? And do you have any advice on how to better include puzzles that would make you a happy player in a online environment?
I mean, I think even if there was one or two good ones that you had time to prep, like Roll20 stuff for, right? I feel like those things often go hand in hand. Having the time to prep it and then also create something that then translates well into the streaming thing. Because watching us like scribble on scratch paper is not exciting.
Not good
Ooh,
TV.
you know what
Not good TV.
everybody loves? Everybody loves a good Tower of Hanoi.
Yes. And showing your work, I feel like, is really what everyone loves to see.
What do you mean by Tower of Hanoi?
It's
The-
the thing where you can't you have like discs of various sizes, and a disc can't go on a bigger disc or it crushes it, and then you have to
It's a
slowly, methodically
A sorting
restack the
problem,
discs.
effectively. Yeah.
It's highly solvable, right? It's NP complete, right? You can just write a program to solve it.
And now
Joe,
Joe
did you just throw out?
reveals his influences.
I was gonna say, did you just throw out a programming term?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's well known.
How is this surprising?
Yeah, exactly. So I would say that I would be actually super happy with even just one or two for the arc, right? Like that fit this thing, because I know it's a lot of work.
Well, sidebar for our viewers, Ben, the person that's running Joe, strongly dislikes being forced to do puzzles, but conversely is quite pleased to inflict them on people.
That's
So
fine.
It's very
let me
convenient that way, isn't it?
Let me just say there was an adventure I had written that we were playtesting.
No. So my problem with puzzles when it comes to tabletop, I don't think it was yours. I'm pretty sure it was at an open.
Nope, there was one game and I was running it and there was a puzzle in it. I don't remember if it was something I had written or I was playtesting something, and they're very high level characters. Wasn't it like 15th level characters or something?
I don't have any memory of this story.
And I'm like, there's this puzzle and it has this and this, and then there's this part and this part and this part, and Ben's like, I roll for divine guidance because I'm a high level cleric. Rolls a 3. I'm like, okay, the god solves the puzzle for you. We're moving right along.
So my problem with puzzles in tabletop RPGs is that frequently there is only the puzzle is not designed for a group to interact with it.
Yeah.
Either because of physical limitations or
like there's
because
one paper copy of it.
there's one paper copy of it, or because it's the type of thing where like you can't break it apart into discrete things that individual people or pairs can work on together.
Yeah.
It's one puzzle where one person is looking over it and the rest of us are leaning in and trying to get an idea. And there's always one or two people that are solving the puzzles in their brain without the rest of the team, which leaves the rest of us talking and kind of come up with ideas. Then some person goes, shut up, I'm solving it, which is not fun as a social activity. So
there is an option. Like, I feel like escape rooms have given us better options for having people do things in parallel. I don't know how well that's framed.
Yeah,
The big problem is it's a bunch of work to set something up like that, right?
It is.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I would say that during the period where we could do online escape rooms has also been the period where I have embraced puzzle design and having it RPGs more often, because there's so many better examples of how you can do a puzzle that is not just here's your one thing. So
yeah, there's a
but
lot.
that
There's been a
is-
lot more like successes and failures in that realm to model things off of.
Right. Okay, so our final question, our final official question before follow-ups is, as a player, what's one strength you bring to the RPG group?
I feel like I help us like stay focused on moving forward. I like to move forward,
Yeah, that's definitely a good point.
and sometimes everyone succumbs to not moving forwardness, and I think I just succumb less than the average person.
Unless there's a lot
Way to
of
not give
involved.
in. Pour
Far,
one
I'm
out
far,
for
I'm far
our
from
brothers.
impervious.
I mean, you throw something made of wood at Ron, and
It's true.
any moving forward has stopped until there's figured out a way to burn it.
I'm sorry, you throw something made of wood at Ron and only ash sweeps his face.
True.
Yeah.
I think we all have our moments there, right? Like, going into the creepy house that we just warped into out of nowhere and avoiding our instincts to Shadowrun the whole thing.
Yeah, that's hard to walk away from. That's
Yeah.
real hard to walk away from.
hmm It's less hard when you haven't ever played Shadowrun.
Nope. You can still do it without having ever played Shadowrun.
Yeah.
100%.
People were Shadowrunning before Shadowrun existed. Shadowrun
Yeah.
is just the perfect system to
Mm.
completely gridlock
Mhm.
any party ever doing anything, because everyone's skills are so specialized.
Yep. So many
Let's
resources.
see.
I am the science fact checker in the sense that somebody can throw out some pseudoscientific bullshit and I'd be like, all right, no, but that would work if there was a nitrogen atmosphere because...
So
I like it.
it's funny that you say that, Paige, because like one of the first times I ever DM'd, it was for my brother. And I went through and I picked out like, oh, this monster seems cool out of the DM. And I was like, I'm just going to put this one there because I think it sounds cool. And
That's how I decide most monsters.
my brother was like, well, wait a minute. That's an arcane monster. Where did it come from? Why is it here? And that was the first time I actually thought about like
Dungeon ecology.
Right, yeah, pretty much. Like, if there's a monster here that is of the arcane genre, it's because maybe there is a wizard here at some point that created them, and like A leads to B, which leads to C, which creates, I think, for a much more engaging world, which going back to that exploration where it's like, hey, we found this thing, why is it here?
Yep, I can come up with a mostly logical reason why it's here.
We have an Andrew fan in the chat.
Yeah, very specifically an Andrew fan.
Yay!
Hey!
He's a good
Hey,
guy.
Astro Lady.
It's the cat ears.
It is.
It is the cat.
Are those new, by the way?
They are new.
They are.
Are they
I-
for just Joe, or is it just your life now?
It's just my life now. I got them as some gift for some recent thing. Probably not Christmas because that feels like it's a long time ago, but probably it was.
Andrew, what you can't tell is when he takes his headphones off, they're actually surgically implanted into his
God.
skull.
Yeah.
He commits to bits. I feel like that's his thing.
That's his thing for sure.
100%.
Gelato shown here.
I like to think that I try to bring in like interesting characters to role play off of. I don't know if I'd call it successful all the time, but hey, I can dream, right? You know what else I bring with me?
What's
A
up?
bunch of corpses, because all of my dead family members.
I mean, he's
Promise
not
it's
wrong.
not intentional.
So does that mean you're going to be like from a happy, loving family and everyone's still alive in this game?
Why
no.
does my family even need to be involved in this game? They're somewhere. It's fine. They're sir not appearing and ma'am not appearing, or sir and sir not appearing. Like, I'm not going to judge.
Because after our first mission, Cobra's going to have all of our pictures, and they're going to hunt down our families. So when we get on our second mission, they'll be like, "You defeated us, but we're going to kill your children." And that's the kind of decisions we're going to have to make as G.I. Joes.
I don't
That
think
got
we're
dark real
planning on
quick.
going that dark.
Yeah,
no.
did
I
we
was
just
confused about the
agree?
tone thing. Isn't that how PG-13 movies go?
Right, exactly. Just grim.
No, Braun, it's fine. My character's going to pick up the phone and he's going to say, I've got a very particular set of skills.
Mhm.
Give me my daughter back.
Then it's going to be a bloody rampage all across Europe. I almost said murd up. Like
Murd
if you
up.
put murder and Europe together into a smash word.
Going up.
Ron, you still don't have that mute button right.
No.
Someday.
Right.
Someday.
Oh, now he had it.
Hey,
That cough took me by
Like,
surprise.
the headset actually does things.
It does. All right, I think all we have left is Joe.
Well,
As
hang
far
on.
as-
And I feel
What?
like this is something our brave leaders should also contribute to.
I do too.
I've avoided answering questions the past two questions.
It's like Ninja vanish.
Yeah, and I don't think I've gone either. So
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought we had agreed that you commit the bits, but do
No,
go on.
that was a
I also that was an assigned thing. But I mean, I think there is definitely that. But I think I'm also the person most willing to go and talk to other NPCs and so forth. So I think that helps to move things forward as well.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, go ahead, Joe. How do you see yourself?
I have no idea, man. It's a good question. I have no idea.
I personally think you do a really good job of keeping track of the state of the world. Maybe like you and Ron are really like up there. But like as to the state of this sort of created world that we're inhabiting, I think both of you have a really good grasp of it. Pay attention to the details.
Ron's particular strength is that he's good at keeping us on the straight and narrow for rules.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a very valuable job.
100%.
Yeah, I think like sometimes what I bring, much like Ron brings straight and narrow for rules, I bring straight and narrow for moving the freaking plot forward.
No.
No dog washing.
No.
Yeah, I would say
Just so
Joe
filthy.
always has a very strong mental image of what his character's goals are,
Mhm.
and that's what he wants to do. He wants to do what his
Mhm.
character wants to do.
Mhm.
Yeah, 100%.
So that moves things along.
I just realized in another game with Joe that his character's building a pirate fleet, and it took me probably 6 sessions to figure that out. But his character wants a pirate fleet. He's building a pirate fleet.
It's gonna be great. I'm gonna have a whole pirate fleet.
I like it. I like
my
it.
My
That
character's
sounds
going to
great.
be very surprised when he learns
Yeah.
he's a pirate.
Right now, he has 3 acres of sail grade canvas.
No, we have a boat. We have one boat.
Oh, and
And
one.
Is it-
one boat.
Notice it's a boat and not a ship.
Mm.
Listen, we're in a city. It's fine.
You're working up to it.
We'll
Yo.
get there. It's fine.
Yo.
Run
We're gonna
the,
control all the canals. It's gonna be great.
obvious
That actually
question.
sounds cool.
The
does
obvious
actually sound
question
pretty cool.
here is: does it have a giant lion's head figurehead,
Mm.
or is it a lamb?
Or any figurehead at all, really.
No, it does not, I think.
I don't think it does.
Is it called?
kind of
like a
barge.
Amerigo?
It's more like a barge than anything else.
Mm.
Like we live on it and stuff, right? Like it's
How flat is the deck? Could you fall
very
off?
flat. Yeah, 100%.
It's a barge. Of course it's flat.
I assume that some of the characters have fallen off more than once.
I think a few have been pushed off a couple.
Canal water, you don't really want to go in canal water.
No, not
All
in
right.
this canal.
So, out of canal water and back to our session 0.
Yeah,
No,
you're right.
no.
We need to get the answer
Yeah.
from you. You're right.
Exactly.
Sorry
Oh,
for not
wait,
focusing on you and your
wait,
answer.
what?
to the question.
No.
We apologize.
Yeah.
I don't
yeah.
want this.
Circle
I
back
want to move on
around.
to my next
No.
bullet points.
No, you don't control the world yet.
Nope.
Ben, what
But I wanna.
what do you bring
You've been outvoted, sir.
Yeah.
to the table?
What's your
And
thing?
just so you know, Ben, in our minds, we all have several cool things you always bring, but we want to know if you
Mhm.
are actually self-aware or not.
See, it's
Ooh.
funny because I expected different things from most of what people said.
Really?
Huh.
So instead of making Ben answer, I'm interested in you saying one thing for each of us.
Ooh.
Oh, I like that.
That is a little bit
Yeah.
more
That-
DM.
that's
-like.
a
Judge
great-
your friends, Ben.
That's a
I was about
great
to say,
trade-off,
I'm not
Joe.
sure
Yeah.
that this is fair, but okay.
We didn't ask if it was fair.
That
We
was
asked if it was
perfectly-
entertaining.
Almost Faustian there. I love it.
All right, got it. So for Ron, I was going to go with rules knowledge as the strength.
Mhm.
So with Paige, I was actually going to go with the willing to role play with people.
Yeah.
Very true.
Before Andrew. Andrew, I think your strength lies in going against the shadow running and going with a practical, like, why don't we just do this? Or why don't we just try something instead of spending another 45 minutes making
Planning.
plans that will no doubt fall completely apart as soon as it gets in contact with the opposing force.
It's all my wasted youth playing Shadowrun just for like hours, and just realize that like we start campaigns and just never finish them because we just plan the entire like multiple sessions.
I was going to say that power, as though I might agree with you, Ben. That power can also be used to commitment to a bit as much as commitment to a plan.
That's deep. I like that.
This
I
is
like
true.
that. Yeah.
Coda, one of the things that I put down for you was that you were the opposite of Ron. You don't let the rules constrain or define you. And
Nothing can keep me down.
You come up with creative solutions that oftentimes make Ron hurt, but also can.
And that's a service, really.
Yes, it's true.
It's about the only form of PvP that I like seeing at the table.
Yeah. That grimace on Ron's face is.
But I like. But I appreciate Ron's strategic and tactical mind with the rules in mind, and I enjoy the chaotic side of I want to do this thing. How does that happen?
Yeah.
And I think at times when those two can meet, where it's like, I want to do this thing, oh, the rules support, blah, blah. Sometimes it works out really well, and sometimes your Megazord falls, and you're like, I'm going to pancake this guy, and instead you take twice as much damage as it does.
Yeah, live and learn. Live and learn.
Hey, you know what we're never going to do again?
What?
Is try to fall on this Megazord.
We're going to do it again.
I think we were all surprised by the consequences of that.
Do a death from above.
We're going to be like, no, it'll work this time.
I think we have provided a service
to
all Power Rangers RPG players.
It's true.
In a demonstration of what will happen if they try to drunkenly dive bomb off of the cart onto the enemy.
Like a crash test?
It will not end well.
It's good to know. It's good to know.
And then for Joe, what I had was a bit of the detail-oriented that we touched on as a group. But also, Joe and Andrew occupy the same place in the table as far as anti-planning and prevarication. There's a certain point it reaches where it goes, where Andrew's saying, why don't we just try something? And Joe's like, well, why don't we just take the 2 extra steps out of the 5 steps we've come up with, and then we have 3 good steps, and let's just do that instead of overcomplicating things. And by your 2 powers combined, we tend to move in a lot of places where where other groups would get stuck up in trying to make sure the correct thing happens rather than making sure that the story moves forward.
I'm looking forward to us never getting out of the G.I. Joe base.
It is always interesting because having now role played with Joe for a very long time, Joe as a player has this interesting BS limit that as soon as he hits, he's like, let's go. Which I always appreciate.
That's an elegant, shorter way of saying what I was talking about.
It's good though. It's good though.
And now your wife.
Like both versions.
Tell the world what you think of your wife.
Damn.
I like. Go on. Go on.
Oh.
My one for Paige was that she's frequently happy to engage with NPCs, and
you already did that. Yeah.
Oh right. Yeah. It's almost like you know her so well.
It's weird.
Gross. Gross.
We are
Um,
pretty gross.
Are you going to force me to answer any other questions before we
No,
move on?
let's keep going.
Nah, it's fine.
All right.
I mean-
you've earned your escape from having to answer questions about yourself.
Right.
Self-knowledge.
So
For
as far
now.
as length of this arc, I'm planning on 5 episodes, so it's probably going to be somewhere between 10 and 15 sessions.
Yeah.
I mean, likely, I'll just put it that way. I think Joe has done a really good job of showing us that adventures can be planned that don't take 8 episodes to complete. So I'm going to attempt to be as good of a DM as Joe is in that regard.
Aw.
It is
He's
kind
good
of
at that.
interesting when you plan it out like that to think that like in each of our sessions we basically get half an episode done, which is funny because that means that our 2-hour RPG session here is the first 15 minutes of the cartoon
Before the ad break.
before the ad
Before
break,
the ad break.
post ad break, and then episode break and new episode.
Yeah.
Like you do, man. Like you
Yep.
do.
That sounds about right.
Remember when episodes used to actually be 30 minutes, not 22, with 8 minutes of commercial BS?
Was that ever?
Nope,
really
that
a
was
thing?
never a thing, but in my memory.
I mean,
What?
public television's like that.
This
So
is
like
true.
Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood was probably a
Close
solid
to,
30.
yeah.
As far as levels, we're going to start out at level 1, and then we're probably going to jump to level 3 after the first episode. And then what we'll probably do is we're just going to skip even levels. So at the end of
Whoa.
each episode, we'll
Damn.
go up 2 levels, so that by the end of it, we'll be able to see what the high end of tier 2 play is.
I feel like you're showing up Joe now. He's like, oh, we'll move you up single levels quickly. And now you're like, double levels.
Well, no,
Well,
Joe did a double level the last time he
He did,
leveled.
he
Yeah,
did.
I mean, like, I
Yeah.
came to the conclusion that we probably should have been doing double levels the entire time,
Yeah.
but I can't travel in the past and tell myself that. So.
See, the good news is I picked up on that without Joe telling me. That's like Joe and I haven't even sat down and been like, all right, so
Yeah.
in order to deal with these jokers, you can do this, this, and this.
Yeah.
Let's see. Basic temple etiquette stuff. We're not going to spend too long looking up rules, just like we did in Power Rangers. We'll give it a few minutes or moments, and then we'll check back and discuss in the afterplay.
Where you can go tell the authors that I've broken a power.
I mean, the good news is that when you break a power, the authors can sit there and be like, shouldn't have done that, shouldn't have done that, shouldn't have done that.
I mean, like, what I've been doing almost inevitably is like, cool, let's just pick a thing and move on, and we'll come back if it goes wrong later. It's fine.
It's very tight.
Yep. So one of the things that we didn't do in Power Rangers that I would like to do in this game, because I'm running a game, my bandwidth gets tighter and I get more focused. And so what I would like is so there's 3 roles that I have envisioned as part of Essence 20 that it would be helpful if each person took, or rather if each of these roles had a person taking care of them so that I don't have to worry about them as much.
Okay.
The first one is going to be our rules expert, which I already penciled Ron down for. Just going to keep that up. Ron,
All
you've
in
been
favor?
hold. Basically, what I need the rules leader to do is to help maintain game state. I know that everybody's going to try to do that, but if one person can be the arbiter other than me, that's like, oh, is that how much stun is left on that bad guy? Are they impaired or are they immobilized at this point? How many upshifts does Andrew have on his attack from Paige and Coda both giving assists? Things like that. And as I said, I think everybody's going to do some of that, but I think having Ron be the person to look to for that will be helpful for me. Similarly, like I did for Power Rangers, if someone can be in charge of tracking and reminding the group of how many story points we have,
Yeah.
and
You're so good at that.
And I can take care of that.
all right,
Because like
So
you were
there's
just
Mr. Story
posting
Point.
it onto the
Yeah.
Roll
The
20
chat.
interface.
chat stream, right?
yep.
Yeah.
And I like how you use them so shamelessly to encourage the rest of us to also. Because otherwise, we might not have used any of the whole campaign, you know? Someone's got to get the pump started.
Joe, you sound like you have a question.
No, I don't. When we were doing Star Trek, I'm pretty sure we use Roll20 to track those things. Like we could just have like a thing. I'll go look how I did it.
Technology.
Someone's still got to toggle it, though.
Yeah, the other thing...
someone's still got to toggle it for sure, right? But
so the reason that I didn't go with that was because it's relatively small on Roll20, which is already a small screen for our viewers.
True.
And if a player is responsible and brings it up, it keeps it in mind for the group rather than players having to look at that part of Roll20 to be reminded of how many are left.
Yeah.
It's pretty solid.
And the last one is a new one, and that's a safety officer. Similarly, I'm going to have Roll20 open, but I'm also going to have probably the book and my notes and something else going on. And hopefully, I will be able to see if someone plays a card. But if we have a safety officer and someone can go, hey, we have a card, let's take a pause break. Or at any point feels as if we should take a moment and make sure everyone's good, anything like that. That's a role that I would certainly appreciate someone else taking on as well.
So I think you've forgotten one, which is you need a cruise director, right? Like you can't be the one controlling the viewer's viewport into Roll20.
This is entirely true because if I am that person, they will all be seeing all of my overlays. And
Yeah. Well,
so
like you've been
sorry.
doing cruise directing for me,
Right?
And so
Yes.
someone will need to do an equivalent level of cruise directing for Ben.
This is
They
true.
need to be able to tell us when our shuffleboard game is starting.
Right?
Very important.
And what
But
deck
the-
it's on?
Do you
The
want...
problem with that, Joe, is now we're up to 4 rolls, and there's 5 of us, so we kind of need to come up with a 5th one, or someone's going to feel left out.
Well, no,
Okay.
we have safety officer, cruise director.
I mean, we can break up cruise director. We can't really because the person
cruise
who's
director is
directing
the
a
host of the
Roll20
stream.
Yeah,
should
I
also be the
can
host of
be the
stream.
safety officer. I got
Alright.
that.
You want me to be the cruise director because I'm right here and you can see my screen as necessary? Is that useful?
I do not have a strong preference between you and Joe.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it again. It doesn't bother me none.
My concern is that whoever will be the cruise director will also need to install and have a decent knowledge of Streamlabs, which I know Joe already has.
In that case, let's let Joe do it.
Swooshfin does have a great recommendation for that final job.
Bartender.
Sadly, one that Ben would be perfect for.
Yes.
Bartender.
I don't know.
Yes.
Ben is a great bartender, but that is how you get poisoned.
But also, Paige, he cannot both DM and bartend. It just
I
This is
beg
true.
to differ,
doesn't
sir.
work.
I also am drinking a lot less than I used to,
Yeah.
so it'd probably be better if I was not in that role. I mean, I would be happy making drinks for folks, but on the other hand, I would prefer to just be chef or something.
It's gonna be real weird to make
Yes.
to make Paige drive all the way out to Ron or somebody just to serve them a drink.
Here's your
I don't
aha.
I don't like the optics of any of that.
Yeah, I don't like the optics
To
of any
make
of
it
that
more
either.
realistic, we'll cap it 3 drinks per night.
Okay.
All right.
I gotta go. A yellow card? Can I yellow card?
Yeah, let's move on. All right. So
Well, I mean, do we want... we'll kind of be thinking if there's a 5th job, if someone thinks of one.
sure. You know what? There is a 5th job, and Paige will be doing it, and that will be Map Monkey.
Oh, I
So
do like
Paige
making
does
maps.
love herself.
I tried real hard to make Paige do that for me, and it did not pan out.
It did not pan out.
Yeah, but Joe,
no.
you don't have the luxury of having Paige
I'm now-
in the house.
Yeah, it's true.
Like,
I'm now subscribed to several
Patreons?
Patreons for maps now. So
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Me too.
Yeah, It's been a busy quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, we could also extend that just to be like, hey, because I know this is something I will need for Transformers. Is I'm just gonna need a Roll20 professional, because I have only ever experienced the player side of Roll20,
I mean, I am a
that's
Roll20
gonna be
professional.
super fun.
Yeah,
I am a
Joe
Roll20
and
professional.
Joe and
As
I
is
can-
Ben. Ben and I are both Roll20 professionals.
Yep.
We can
Yep.
help you there. And as
All right.
far as maps, like I am more than happy to either source or create maps. I just need to know kind of generically some of the things you will need.
Sure.
And I will probably need a couple of days. Like I'll need to know by Friday.
Okay.
Paige, I am gonna have to give you one more job. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Okay.
Gonna need to keep Ben sane.
I mean,
She does a really good job of that, so that shouldn't be a problem.
There you
that's
go.
very high on my list.
There you
Very
go.
high on my list.
I mean, don't you want your DM to be a little crazy?
No,
Just a touch.
I like Ben too much to want him to be crazy.
In a creative and exciting way, yes, but I wouldn't say crazy.
Yeah, crazy's kind of a word.
It's a bit of a loaded term.
Mm,
So that moves us on to the next part for me, which is campaign framework. So to keep in mind, it's going to be a modern game. It's going to be most of the world will be modern technology. So G.I. Joe does their basic, I guess not basic, but their current baseline is what's called 5 minutes into the future. And if you look in the art of the G.I. Joe book, you'll see this with some of the fantastic, laser guns and all types of stuff like that, where tech is just a little bit ahead of where it currently is. So you can expect that obviously your characters in Joe, a fair amount of Cobra, and some other groups will have that same manner of slightly sci-fi equipment and tools and things of that nature.
I like it.
Similarly, you can expect some sci-fi and some thriller elements. One of the questions I had for you was, how much do we want vehicles to be involved in our gameplay?
Is
There's a
anyone
couple of
playing a
places.
driver?
There's a couple of places in the story that I've envisioned, which I'm sure will not keep up. Paige is making a face that's interrupting me.
I really want a car chase.
Okay. See, this is what I need to know. If it's like I really like the thing that's really important to me about G.I. Joe is all the crazy vehicles, then I need to know that now.
I don't necessarily need a vehicles focus, but I would really like to see the chase rules live.
I feel like vehicles is like a key part of Joe. Where coming in, I did kind of expect we'd have vehicles on like at least half the missions to some degree.
Okay.
It is kind of interesting, right? Because like on one hand, I would like to see vehicles just so that we as a stream that is kind of showing off what the system has to offer, I think that's a huge portion of it.
Yeah.
Personally, as a player though, like unless somebody's thing is like I'm gonna pilot all the pilot and be the driver, which even then, how do we get that driver to be like, I drive my car into this house where we're having the role play?
Here's the answer, Coda. If you've read the book, you'll know that vehicles in G.I. Joe are not something characters bring to the session. They are assigned by Joe Command to the mission. So you know that they're always going to be, assuming the person doing the
available,
red herring or something.
Yeah.
But in theory, the vehicles will always be a key part of the mission that it will be fun to have along, and things like that. It avoids your thing where you have a driver character that just has to bring their car everywhere. In fact, the driver character.
Think of the insurance on that.
The driver character will be in charge of driving, whatever vehicles are assigned, and not only assigned, but sometimes vehicles can show up in, like, you start with no vehicles. We are on the Cobra base, and we find like a Cobra helicopter, and suddenly that's a key part where we got to like escape in the helicopter.
Right.
It'd be a fun twist. So that's how vehicles are used in the G.I. Joe role-playing game.
Yeah, but I think it's reasonable to say that we probably want someone who's going to be a driver if, as a collective group, we want driving to be important. Then someone should probably be at least reasonable at it.
It could be hilarious though if we're all just bad at it.
I mean, sure. I mean, there's
So
lots of
we'll-
different things.
Define reasonable. Is reasonable like D6?
Oh.
We'll get into this when we start talking about character creation. But one of the, if I do say so myself, very clever things that was done with the system is that instead of pilot or driver being its own role, it is a focus, which is a subclass or a sub role of infantry, which is one of the most flexible roles as far as things you can do and number of attacks you can make and stuff like that.
Armored infantry is a whole thing. You need them Bradleys and them Strikers and your Humvees.
Yep. So as far as primary environments that I have in mind are going to be man-made / modern, forests, mountainous area, kind of like temperate forest type areas, and then high-tech areas are the three kind of top of mind. But if there's something that's like, I really want to go in a swamp, then let me know now, and I can figure out a way to work in a swamp, maybe.
I mean, I wouldn't be averse to an undersea base.
Ooh. Hopefully everyone can swim.
And
Not
Ben
that you-
just, that is the face that has been just taking like an entire chapter of his thing and just turning to
No, it's great. He
Paper
just picks a
shredder.
base he has and he just turns, drops it in the ocean, and he's done. It's
Just
fine.
take,
no, it's totally fine.
PG and put it underwater.
Ooh, nope, even better. Blue filter over the camera.
Ooh, that's
Yeah,
Nice.
it's fine.
Done.
Is it nighttime or are we underwater? I can't tell.
Who can tell?
It's both.
It's
Mm.
both.
The art department says it's both.
Oh.
Mm.
Ooh. Yeah.
I like it. I'll show up with blue tinge on my glasses that day. It'll be great.
Temperate swamps are a thing. Look at Scandinavia in the summer or Maine. So there we are. You got it. We got
All
that.
that black mana.
Mm.
Tasty.
Very tasty.
Now
I
I'm adding temperate swamps. Thank
I
you, Switch fan.
and I'm gonna mean this totally facetiously, Ben. So
Now we're
I'm
doing
ready
it.
to
You say
write
it
it
out loud,
down.
it's going to
Yeah.
happen, Mike.
I
You're
want
gonna speak
who's
into
driving-
existence.
I
Yeah.
want a peat swamp, please.
A peat swamp? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a bog? I don't know if peat is in swamps.
No, it's different than a bog.
I was going to ask who's driving the airboat.
I think peat swamps are higher altitude, right?
Oh.
I don't
not
ever
necessarily.
associate swamps with high altitude.
They're rare, but they exist.
You know what? Let's
Your
write this
science
down.
officer will look that up by next week.
Perfect.
Huh? That is
Here,
totally a thing.
we are so demanding.
Coda, you have broadened my horizons. Peat swamp forests.
Mm-hmm.
Ben, I have no demands.
Joe, you're just happy to not be GMing, aren't you?
You're dang right.
We are the worst.
Oh
What?
God,
No, we're
I'm
great.
so gonna be harvesting what I reap here, aren't I? Or
Oh,
sow
100%.
here,
I
aren't
mean,
I?
like-
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, you said something facetiously, so now it's going to happen. I mean, I don't.
Mhm.
No, what's
Man.
worse is Ben is gonna be like, I got this really weird demand for Transformers. It's fine.
It's great. I just look forward to our airboat chase in the peat swamp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's fine.
Excellent,
It's
excellent.
great. All right. As far as primary enemies, it's going to be Cobra, some scattered terrorist groups, but also I intend to be building off of the end of Joe's Power Rangers game, and
Ooh.
will hopefully be providing a on-ramp to Coda's Transformers game. So in that
Ooh.
vein, expect some crossover action and for there to be some Power Rangers and Transformers style threats as well.
Oh, interesting.
It's a
Interesting.
crossover episode.
What?
Wow.
So it's all
That's
G.I.
crazy.
Joe player characters, but it's going to be some crossover bad guys.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
so we probably won't get Zords?
No, but we'll have to fight one.
Yeah, you'll definitely fight one.
Ooh, That's not good.
just
Yeah,
have
we
to-
need to trick it into jumping at us.
Yes. That's
There you
exactly what
go.
we need to
There
do.
you
Ben,
go.
Dragon Slayer would like to know which transformer is going to be our Pete Swamp
Airboat.
Airboat. There we go.
Oh,
Words.
damn.
I have not planned that out yet, but don't worry, it's coming.
It'd be so cool if like we did the entire scene and we're on this
Right.
airboat, and then at the end we find out that the airboat is actually a sentient transformer.
I mean,
Right?
sea spray. It'll
Sea
clearly
spray.
be sea spray.
Yep.
All right. So in G.I. Joe, there is there's a more formal start to each adventure.
Mm.
It usually starts with a mission briefing that includes, first of all, your objective, any contacts on the ground that you may need to know, because normally you are not the area experts for the places that you're going, and there will be somebody there to help you, either to help gather things that you didn't think of in the requisition phase that are slightly bigger than spending a story point for, or for getting you connected with local NPCs and things like that. That stuff will be in the briefing, along with expected bad guys and other challenges that you'll run into. And then, wow, my brain is completely going. And rules of engagement is the last one, which is stuff like don't use explosives in civilian areas, or only silenced weapons, or stealth is recommended for this. And we
Or
all know as
murder
soon
all
as-
witnesses.
G.I. Joe
is-
does not murder witnesses.
No, they torso them.
Nope.
What? This is
Bro,
near
think of my
future.
computer.
With the availability of cybernetics freely in the near 5-minute future, torsoing becomes
So
a thing.
cybernetics
Can you
is not
cut Ron's
freely
feed?
available, but expect some cybernetic shenanigans. Anyways, what I'm getting at is there's a mission briefing. Then there is a requisition phase. So we touched on this a little bit in Power Rangers, but in Power Rangers, your upgrade time is 1d20 days. Where in G.I. Joe, you have, here's your mission, go gear up for it. And at that point, everybody gets a certain, either the player pool is X number of requisition attempts, or each player gets a certain number of options. And then what I am planning to do is that for each episode, I will email you beforehand an abbreviated mission briefing so that you have the details, along with what your requisition budget is. And then when we get to the play side of it, we will play out the mission briefing with additional details that may or may not be extraneous. Also give you the opportunity to ask questions. And then we will roll out our requisition phase, but this will give you time to plan what it is you'll want to get so that we won't spend 30 minutes talking about what we should be getting off of the mission briefing you just had.
I think that's a good
30
plan.
minutes.
I think that's a good plan that'll definitely cut it down to 25 minutes.
If I cut off 5 minutes of that, then I'm going to mark that as a win.
Let's be clear here. This was going to take an hour.
Yeah,
You could have done
easily.
it 30 minutes. There's the victory.
That's right.
Yeah. But I think that is a very cool part of Joe. I think that, there might be things you envision your character having that are kind of a reach. And if you don't get them, you kind of got to roll with the punches. I think it can make for some very interesting missions. And a few dead supply officers. But that's neither here nor there.
The world is largely it is in Power Rangers. It is modern. Russia is not invading Ukraine. It's a more peaceful, idealized world of current times. This game, however, will explore some of the conflicts that are kept out of the limelight to maintain that peace.
Like real ones, or just like mirrors of?
It will be entirely. So I have strong opinions about not role-playing current world events, because especially if it's a war, it can come across, especially in our rather comical way of presenting games. It may come across as lighthearted or not respectful of real people who are going through some real tough stuff right now that we can't even possibly begin. So everything will be made up.
I like that.
One of the things about the world that I wanted to talk to you about, though, and get your opinion is, so by its nature, G.I. Joe is a covert group of super soldiers. But how secret is G.I. Joe? Like in our worlds, we have the benefit. So G.I. Joe, again, getting back to, means many things to many people. You have the farthest reach. My camera is just enough to the size that every time I put my left hand up, I go out of screen.
That's your good hand.
So we have on one side, when you join G.I. Joe, they find a body, modify the dentals, have a horrible death, so that you to fake your own death, so your previous life is completely disconnected from G.I. Joe. And on the other hand, we have doing PSAs with kids.
Okay, so my vote is 100% secret.
I
Like
also
masquerade level of secret.
Yep, I also vote 100% secret too.
It does seem a lot easier for us to be secret. It's hard to envision a world where G.I. Joe is common knowledge.
I mean, yeah.
You could totally do it. I mean, like
I'm not
it just
saying it's
becomes
a-
like a government agency more than
Yeah.
anything else, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
I
then,
mean, it's more like kind of part of the UN than anything.
well, Cobra would have to be common knowledge then, also, right?
Yeah, they totally could be common knowledge. It's like Al Qaeda's common knowledge, right?
And according to Star Trek, if humanity is faced with an opponent, then they'll band together. And I don't know if humanity really will band together.
I mean, past performance is no guarantee of future results, but it's not looking real good for the home team, is what I'm saying.
So since this has been brought up, my vision for Cobra in this version of G.I. Joe is that they exist. They obviously are a significant opponent to world peace, among other things. However, they have yet to have a plot or a scheme that has revealed them on the global stage.
Ooh.
So
They're like
Cobra
the power
Island
behind.
So Cobra Island hasn't happened.
Yeah.
I will say that the Mass Device, which is the original animated series, I think 2 or 3 part opening episode, the Mass Device was stopped before Cobra could teleport the Eiffel Tower and then the entire Soviet army away. So to that level, Joe has been successful in, and not only Joe, the group, but G.I. Joe has been successful in stopping Cobra schemes to the point where a significant portion of what G.I. Joe is doing right now is trying to find out, other than we're wacky people that seem to have infinite resources and zero ethics as far as science, like, what's Cobra's deal and where are they hiding so that we can better stop them is a big part of G.I. Joe's mission right now.
I dig it.
So, for instance, G.I. Joes know that Cobra is led by the commander, and there's a lot of suspected Cobra activity in Europe, but it's not like everybody goes, oh yeah, Destro, that guy's in Cobra.
Hey.
So
Interesting.
no PSAs with the kids.
So we don't even know as much as we're fighting it. It'll be shadowy opposition, is what you're saying.
It will be some shadowy opposition.
Higher
And
chance
not
of
all
civilian
opposition
casualties.
will be Cobra. But there will definitely be Cobra opposition.
All right.
Sounds good.
So if we do go the super secret masquerade level, that would fit with the worlds. but we could do the other way as well, and you all would just have to stop to sign people's GI Joe commemorative magazines, or
Trading cards.
if you've really made it, you have your own trading card in this year's sets.
Ooh.
But
I
it would
assume
be,
it's like the NCAA, where despite all of our hard work, we're for ethical reasons not allowed to cash in. Only the
Yes.
bosses and stuff can cash in.
I mean, it's of course that way, but you would still be a minor celebrity that people would have their favorite GI Joe, of course.
Yeah.
I think it could go either way as far as the story goes. But if you were famous, or moderately famous, you would need to perhaps work in different ways or leverage your fame so that Cobra isn't one step ahead of where you are because the paparazzi are following you.
Interesting. Well, it could change mid-campaign, right?
It could also change mid-campaign. And along that lines, that this will also bring up a little bit as far as challenge. If we want it to be secret 100% level, that's going to bring more spy elements into the game, as opposed to if you're more well-known, then it's going to be more action-y. Don't get me wrong, there's going to be a whole bunch of action regardless, but there would be additional steps and thought that need to go into, and some of this will obviously be covered by the organization and your in-area contacts as far as cleanups and things like that. But you would have to play it more like a spy game. An actual spy game, not a gelato spy game.
Oh no. Don't throw me in that briar patch.
Okay, so
Welcome back.
thank you. Good to be here. Just from that side of things, my character was less covert than that. My concept, I should say, is slightly less covert than that and more.
Is he
rescue?
Is he like our social media officer?
No, not
posting live like streaming all of our daring do, and
I mean,
Oh, look how many
obviously,
views we have
we
on
live
TikTok.
we live in the slight future, y'all. Everything we do is being streamed live as we do it. It's fine.
that's how we pay for it all.
Look, I talked to the tax guys, and they were totally fine with it. So it's that ad revenue. No, just less covert ops, though. So I'm frankly more in it for the big dang hero type action than super spy ninjas versus ninjas.
Like I'm okay at like anywhere between that very secret to like like intelligence officers can be sort of openly can like acknowledge that they're intelligence officers. They just can't talk about what they do, right?
Yeah.
And there's a layer between that and now like Green Berets or something like that, like where they're a little bit better known. Their stuff does end up in like newspaper or something like that,
Or in movies.
right?
Fictionalized accounts.
Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying we should be like minor celebrities, but like there are very few like special operatives that I could point at and be like, this is a special operative that is famous.
Yeah,
because
I think
that kind of defeats the purpose of their job.
I think the core question is, amongst the community of people who are in the defense job, right, who are defense people, do they know about us, right? Because like when I think about it, I think are we Stargate level secret or are we not Stargate level secret? Right? Because Stargate level
That's
secret.
a good comparison.
That's how
level
Joe
secret,
looks at most things in the world.
That
I mean,
is
I
how
think for
Joe.
this example, it's very pertinent, but also that's true. But it's like in Stargate, they're like, hey, Amanda Tapping's character is like, oh, I have to do. They all do deep space radar telemetry, and really they go off on adventures, right?
Yep.
See,
but
that
like,
I'd
but
be
they have
okay
to tell,
with.
like, even like other people in the same organization as them have to be told that because it's so secret. Right? I think that's kind of the question: is what level of secret do we want here?
When you put it in terms of Stargate, Joe, it just I'm in.
It brings it home.
I mean,
So
I'm
we've-
in.
And part of it will be the missions, right? Like
Mhm.
if we're, if there's a remote fortress or something, it doesn't really matter how loud we get because there's no one to see it except
Mhm.
Cobra. And by the end of the mission, they'll all be carefully tied up.
Ron, do you mean
So-
like some sort of underwater base of some sort?
Mhm.
It's true.
Flutter's a great sound muffler.
So
Mhm.
so even in the most secret of super secret, Ben will still be able to control how much spying is necessary, based on the mission.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Ben's gonna have a problem as the GM setting up the scenes he wants. I think it's really a question of like when we're walking down the street, how
Mhm.
secret do we need to be, right?
Sure.
I'm too secrets for streets.
I
He
will
only does
cover up.
alleyways.
I will cover up my GI Joe patch.
Patches. What?
Or what are the coins?
Challenge coin.
Challenge coins. I
Mm.
won't bring my GI Joe challenge
Or
coin.
just be handing them out to every kid who walks by.
You won't bring your Zeo coin?
Ooh.
Ooh.
I just NFT minted those guys. Come on.
All right. So it sounds like we want to be Stargate level.
Hmm.
I'm in.
All right.
I like it.
But maybe we'll save the world in a super flashy way, and suddenly everyone will know that
Hmm.
our characters are totally awesome.
Ooh, that could
That
also
could totally
be
happen.
fun.
That's a fun arc
Mhm.
for sure. I don't have a problem with that as a conceptual arc, right?
Ooh,
Um,
almost like the we end in the light and like ooh, that could be really fun.
Hmm.
And then the second season is all bureaucracy.
Suddenly we can get nothing done, and they have to create a new secret organization to actually get shit done. And we just become someone's beard, basically.
Yeah,
That's
pretty much.
sadly, Joe. The second season is going to be Transformers, so it's just going to be like
Mm,
Transformers taken to legal court.
Mm.
Well, no, the second season is Transformers, and now it's just like, oh, everywhere we go is Transformers on the TV. There's something about GI Joes going.
Right.
Yep, exactly.
All right. So I think now at the bright
Ooh.
hour of 9:20, is there anything else about the worlds or objectives or anything like that that we want to discuss now before we start talking about character concepts and start building them?
I am ready for character concepts.
I am prepared in my soul.
All right.
Wait, I've lost my pencil. Pencil found.
So, character creation, GI Joe starts with discussing with your GM and other players, which I believe that we have just talked about the worlds,
Opa.
and figured out some assumptions so that we don't have assumption clashes,
Mhm.
which is good.
Mhm.
So then we get into character concepts. So, who wants to tell me about what they want to do with their character?
Well, I don't know. I find it maybe useful to talk about roles first. Maybe not everyone starts
I-
there in their brain, but I think
Actually,
that's
not sure about roles, so I actually felt like I needed to discuss like I kind of have an origin influence idea, but I don't actually know of a very good role for this character yet.
I
Well,
thought
let's talk
this-
about concepts, and that'll help guide us through talking about as much of influences, origin, role, and focus as we get through on the show.
I thought this was something that's kind of interesting about G.I. Joe in particular. And that if you think about the actual show or comic books or whatever, all these characters in them are called like Bazooka or Clutch or
Mm.
Wild Bill. So you almost have to start from what your character does mechanically
Mhm.
and then flesh it out backwards. Where while that works for any system, a lot of times in other systems people want to start like with the soft stuff and then fill in the mechanics. But I don't know, Joe just seems like it really lends itself to a mechanics first character starting.
On the on
It's
that
weird.
same
Go ahead.
on that same topic, the GI Joe random name generator for me gave me Good Flamingo as a code name.
Ugh.
Good
Okay, I'm
flamingo.
calling you
Take-
Flamingo from now
Take
on.
good Flamingo out back and sonicifies them and then carefully tie them up.
So
All right.
I don't have enough of a character. So because the way I make characters, I will not know anything about my character until I pick my role.
Okay. Well, why don't you tell us your role then, and
I
then
don't
we
know.
can.
I mean, like, I need to know people's roles to
Well-
to make that decision.
Well,
That's
okay,
sniper.
I can go first then.
All right.
Because a while back, and I think we did this on air. In fact, I'm almost positive this on air.
We
yeah,
did.
I was not at that session. But
Yeah,
yes.
Joe might have not been there. We're not held to this, but we talked about how excited we were that Ben wrote G.I. Joe, because I don't think Paige was there either. Maybe she. No. Anyway, that's not important.
Do you happen
We-
to remember what my character idea was from that one? Because I don't.
And basically, Ben
You were
told
gonna
us
be a
which character roles he personally wrote, and everyone in that session chose one to play.
Before I revealed which ones I wrote, mind you.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Fine.
that's right. Because it was funny because you told us all the roles, and then we all chose roles, and then it turned out that all the ones we chose were ones that you wrote. Right. That's how it went.
Paige, what was my idea before? Because I sure
So-
don't remember.
So you had said, absent of any information about the role, that you were interested in playing a Vanguard.
Okay.
Yeah, and
See,
I
that's weird, 'cause-
chose
Do you remember that?
infantry.
I do.
Yeah.
If it's helpful, I can go over the roles, which essence is generally considered to be the most important for them, and where they fall in the team, if that is at all helpful for folks.
Mm-hmm.
So, first we have the Commando, which is shadow operatives who specialize in infiltration, deception, and catching targets off guard. Their primary essence is speed. Their team position is damage. They also do a fair amount of skills and roleplay. Their 3 focus options are Infiltrator, which is being super good at sneaky, Sniper, which is being super good at single ranged attacks, and Spy, which is being super good at getting information out of people and general deception and getting behind enemy lines.
And Paige, did I hear you say that you're interested in the sniper?
Yep.
The cool thing about sniper is even a casually built sniper at level 1 can't miss.
It's-
Ooh.
I mean, Ron, you've seen me roll dice before.
No, you don't roll dice. You just point at something and be
sure,
like,
sure.
I hit that
Yep.
from level 1. It's a little odd from a game design point of view.
Yep.
But it's part of the system. So I don't know. So I'd be interested to play with someone that from level 1 just couldn't miss. So don't hold back if you do play a sniper.
I'm very curious how that works out, but I'm sure I'll find out. Second, we have infantry, which is the backbone of the military unit, quintessential soldiers who regard the battlefield with gallantry and tenacity. Their primary essence is also speed. Their team position is also generally damage, but they are flexible in their focus options. So the artillerist is all about doing AoE attacks, working with explosives in all of their various forms. Mechanized infantry is all about vehicles. And medic is all about healing people and stopping them from being defeated. Very much like Ron's design outlook, among others, on healing, is generally medics do their best work, getting you from defeated to 1 or more health.
Mhm.
Which I think
You're
is-
fine until you fall down.
It's a fun game dynamic too.
The officer, leaders on the battlefield, tacticians off of it, always focus on those in their charge and the objectives they must fulfill. Their primary essence is social. Their team position is a team leader. They are focused on giving buffs to other players, sometimes giving up their own actions to give bonuses to others. Their 3 focus options are battlefield psychologist, frontline leader, and grandmaster. Battlefield psychologist starts using effects against the will and cleverness of enemies to give them debuffs in addition to the buffs that the officer provides. Frontline leader gives more focus and sharper buffs, and grandmaster is largely about increasing your allies' movement capabilities and giving them other abilities to change the tide of battle position-wise.
I was thinking about an officer. It was on my short list of roles I was thinking about.
All right. Did any of those focuses jump out at you specifically?
Probably frontline leader if I went officer.
Sure.
The Grandmaster seems a little gamey to me.
Yeah, a little bit too much to me as well.
Like, their first ability that you get right out of the gate is you can have 2 people in initiative, 2 of your allies swap places, which lets one of your allies take an extra turn, essentially, which is super powerful, but it means one of the human beings you're playing with doesn't get a turn. And in theory, you could do that every round. So, like, I don't know. It just feels, I don't know.
I also like that all of their perk names are named after chess battle moves, so also gamey.
It's true.
Is the
As you can
meat?
see,
Is the meat really stringy? Is that the third way they're gaming?
Yeah.
me and Coda look at things from totally different perspectives, but we get to the same place at the end.
I know it's amazing sometimes.
It's amazing how opposite we are.
Delicious.
Delicious. All right, keeping the train rolling. We have the Ranger, dangerous warriors who excel in their environment of expertise and learn to apply their training outside of their elements. They are strength primary essence. They are the wild card on their team. They're very flexible. So as you level, you have a long menu of options to choose your bonuses from that can lead you towards being more of a damage dealer or more of a leader with buffs, or you can do more healing and all kinds of other exciting stuff. The 3 focus options there are Beastmaster, which is get a pet, Predator, which is, as I recall, about hunting the most dangerous game.
Robots.
Well,
I
it's kind
see.
of like a mix between Ranger and Commando.
And Commando, yeah.
I like it.
And
Robots have all the features of humans plus they're robots.
They're made of
know,
metal.
right?
It's a big plus.
I mean,
Right?
I was going to say someone's been playing Horizon Zero Dawn, but or whatever the sequel's name is.
Forbidden West.
Forbidden West. There we go. I don't have a PlayStation. I don't know what these things are.
I played the first one. It's a phenomenal game.
Yeah, the first one's real good. It's also available on PC. Anyways, and Scout, which is all about additional environmental bonuses and sharing that with your allies. Next, we have
Unsurprisingly, the Beastmaster is definitely on my short list.
I believe Lex earlier tonight said, "Ooh, I want a doggo."
I'm so surprised. Weren't you surprised?
so shocked.
I was shocked.
All right. So next we have the Renegade. Loose units as tough and dangerous as a runaway train.
Tell me there's a motorcycle involved and Lorenzo Lama.
And yes, definitely. Misfits recruited to G.I. Joe, so Cobra doesn't get them first. Renegades are also strength as their primary essence. Their general team position is defense. Their 3 focus options are Blitzer, Door Kicker, and Tank. Blitzer is all about doing melee damage in a game with guns. Door Kicker is focused on shotguns and submachine guns, surprising and breaching areas. And then Tank is all about loading up on defenses, including the Renegade's signature ability, which is gives them bonus health so that they last longer in a fight.
It's kind of cool.
Outlast their opponents.
It's like you're a 5th edition barbarian, except you also get shotguns.
Right?
Like,
I mean,
drive my tank over there so I can hit that creature with my sword.
What's not to like?
All right. Technician, savvy experts in their fields and equipment specialists supporting their teammates or turning themselves into war machines. Their primary essence is smarts. Their team position, which when coming up with team positions for all the games that would fit, was technical, because you're Blue Ranger, you're technician, and other roles that I am not at liberty to talk about for games that are not currently out.
It's My Little Pony, isn't it?
That's it. It's 100%. My Little Pony is all cyborgs built for war.
I'm aware.
Man, you're not supposed to say that.
Well, it'd be magical technology in My Little Pony.
But so your technician on the team has the ways to modify gear, lots of ways to overcome skill challenge or skill test based obstacles in games. and frequently have ways that can boost skills either for themselves or for other people on the team.
And they're also a pet class.
They're also a pet class. Their 3 focus options are, where's that window? Are expert, think tank, and tinkerer. And I always have to look these up because I did not design this role.
Spoiler alert.
Is spoiler alert supposed to mean that it's good, or
No, just spoiler alert.
so experts use technology to expand their expertise in a single field. Think tanks wear advanced gear to enhance their fighting ability, and tinkerers maximize their versatility through technology.
Oh, speaking of these guys,
Yes.
they interface with another key part of Joe, which is the kits.
Yes.
Oh.
So kits are more of a thing in Joe than they were in Power Rangers. Sometimes you will need a kit in order to make a test, or a kit will give you a bonus for having the right tool at the right time, usually in the form of upshifts. Kits also have requirements based upon the die size of the skill that you're getting a kit for.
And you can do the RP, you can essentially unlock secret areas with them or things like that. That's what it said. Sometimes.
Sometimes there will be an optional door that you can only get through with a certain type of kit and a certain type of skill test in order to get to that location, as opposed to another location that may lead to that location. Because I'm an immersive sim designer.
What is this, Back for Blood?
I mean,
Toolkit doors?
Toolkit doors?
Well,
What?
the example they gave was, if you're invading the fortress, you could, with the right kit, you could just climb right up the side of it.
Sure.
Which you can only do with the right gear.
All right, and our last one is Vanguard. Heavily armored fighters absorbing opening volleys and directing traffic from the front line. Their primary essence is social. They are also defense, where the Renegade does its defense job from getting bonus health that can allow it to last longer in a fight. The Vanguard has a personal shield, which boosts their toughness and evasion as they gain levels.
Ooh, and they also highlight another cool thing that you did in G.I. Joe, where there's a lot of technology stuff that's super powerful, but to counteract that, EMP technology is also relatively available. So all your stuff can get knocked out, including your special Vanguard shield, although they can get around it later on. But it's just kind of a cool counterbalance thing.
So the Vanguard's 3 focus options are Bodyguard, which is all about protecting a single person, Heavy Ordnance, which says, enough of this personal shield shenanigans, some defense bonuses are nice, but I really want a really big gun. And then Juggernaut, which focuses on boosting the shields for them and expanding into include more people, if I recall.
Ben,
what's up?
Is this one of your classes?
It is.
Does Heavy Ordnance have, or rolls, is Heavy Ordnance have a skill that's just
It does.
I think it's called suppressing fire.
No,
that's how it's pronounced.
Andrew, very specifically, it is not called suppressing fire. It is called
It's very true. Where you become a human.
We had more fun with that than perhaps we should have been allowed to.
I mean, I just want to say that I rely on editors to stop me, and I will put things in there like a perk called BRRRT.
It's all on them. It's all.
And if it makes it to print, then clearly it was a great idea.
100%.
You got to roll high and see what it hits. Yeah.
I mean, just like Gretzky says, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yep.
So that is Rolls and Joe, along with their team positions and what their focuses do. So if that helps you figure out what type of character you want to be, I know that Paige, Joe, and Coda mentioned which ones were interested them. Paige Commando Sniper, Joe Officer Frontline Leader, and Coda Ranger Beastmaster.
I'd be interested in being a mechanized infantry, which
Oh,
is an
cool.
infantry subclass. And that would allow me to be the pilot as well, if people were cool with that.
For a second there, I thought this class also came with a mech.
No,
That'd be
although
hot.
we could be issued a mech and I would get to drive it.
Hot.
This is true.
Ooh.
Although I don't think mechs are a big part of the Joe verse.
Not normally.
They take too much of the
Not
focus
yet.
away from the Joes.
It depends on what era. There are some mechs.
All right.
Listen, people like Gundam a lot, is all we're saying.
Yeah.
I think so. That just left Andrew off, and Andrew, you don't have to answer now, but now you have an idea of what other people are thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I think that does help. I think I had more of my character idea first.
Okay.
But I appreciate the explanation of classes. That does really help. So
I'm just going to move this over to hell. Have it in one document, and I'm not going to be going. I know I wrote that down. Where did Ben write this 3 days ago when I was doing the session 0? The good news is it's on video, so I can just watch it. Ah! Look at me. Look at me.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, so we've talked about roles. So what was your concept, Andrew? Are you comfortable sharing that with us?
yeah, I mean, so my character was going to be blockchain.
Okay.
A forensic accountant, formerly with the CIA, who
Ooh.
specializes in tracking down our foes by their attempts to move their filthy lucre around the world. Who was also, maybe in their checkered past, a notorious hacker who was, pulled in at some point for their special set of skills here.
Well, that screams technician.
It does, and so there could be that, or there could be a more like social version that could be some flavor of officer.
Oh, so your character hacked things. They were a social hacker. They'd call up on the phone, sweet talk someone, and then at
Right.
the end, they'd have their life savings.
Exactly, or like you're about to get a text message. You need to tell me that code right now. I've called you on a busy Friday night while you're.
Spoiler, I mean, just as an aside, I completely despise people like that. So
Yeah.
please don't play that type of person.
Are you sure that your call sign isn't Spearfisher?
Right?
Yeah.
Hey.
Catfish.
Andrew, earlier in the chat, I said
Yeah.
there was a comment about NFTs, and I was like, yeah, but I only deal with NFTs because it's the currency of the future.
Mhm.
I was joking, just FYI.
Everything is NFTs now, though, so you don't have a choice.
NFTs all the way down.
Yep.
But
Aww.
they're so fungible.
Yeah. But what if blockchain used their social engineering against Cobra to,
There's so
Drain
many
their-
vile.
drain their retirement accounts
Could
and
you be
then
on a different squad, please?
leave them?
This is not unlike my Shadowrun character Grim, who ruins people's credit for fun.
Yep.
Like it's the things she does on the side.
And then the enemy is so demoralized because they realize they're never going to be able to afford to retire that they surrender.
It turns them into
Wow.
berserkers.
Yeah, exactly. Or blockchain will basically somehow figure out a way to mess with their health insurance billing, so they're just weighed down with crippling medical debt.
God.
Like, this
Yellow
has gone
card.
someplace-
Yellow
Yeah.
card.
Yeah, this is going
This-
someplace I don't
this
want to
just
go.
Yellow
Ben,
card.
I thought you said we weren't doing realistic horror.
Yeah, I didn't have excessive medical debt on my list of things I was specifically avoiding, but now I'll make sure that it's on that list.
Cobra just doesn't pay enough, and their benefits are kind of crap.
Which
that
is
was
pretty
their
ironic,
mistake.
right?
I
Yeah,
know.
Andrew, if you
Cobra.
want to go officer, I'd be happy to go Vanguard. I don't want to have overlapping roles personally. My opinion.
Okay.
Yep.
Uh,
That's just a personal preference, right? If you were like, "Hey, I want to be officer," like, cool, I'll be a Vanguard.
I
instead.
haven't settled yet, so we can figure it out during the week.
But technician's really cool because you can have a really high tech score that you used to shoot And
Yes.
it also means you can have a really strong drone that also
Yes,
uses
yes.
to shoot. So it's like you get the double dip.
The drones are very pleasing, so I am looking forward to looking at those rules. But I
Ryan
haven't.
did
Yeah,
all the
the
drones.
drone
Yep.
only
Yeah.
targets people's retirement funds.
That's
So
true. It's like the whole time we're on the mission, your drone is just hacking people's
Yep,
like
yep.
personal accounts.
Wait,
Stealing-
are you just playing Watch Dogs?
Exactly. Just combing through their stuff. It's like
Like we're halfway through the mission and you just go and steal a bunch of mail.
Ooh, it's garbage day today, guys. Let me
Exactly,
let me
I'm
just
just
look at
kinda
the
going
cans
through.
first.
No,
You know-
nowadays the crooks just go directly to those blue mailboxes and just
Mm,
get all the
Mhm.
mail. Like they don't
mm,
pass go. It's all very
it's
efficient.
true. It's true.
You
All
can
right.
buy the keys for them on Craigslist.
can I steer us into a slightly happier character concept?
Sure, what's up?
Yes.
Okay, so
I don't know, Coda. Is all of your characters' family dead? Because
No,
if so, we're going to
they're
jail.
totally fine. They're totally fine.
Except
he
for all the
thought-
death.
He thought when you said fake his own death, that meant he had also had to fake the death of his family, but he wanted
But then
Just
he
to
was
be-
like, why fake that when I could just do it?
he doesn't want to be disqualified from Joe for missing a family member.
I said happier. Happier.
I don't think this
Which-
word means what it.
Right, so all your family is dead. Let's
what
move
Ron
on.
think it is. Or Joe. What you got, Coda?
All right, so I was gonna go with a first responder origin and be a scouted canine unit from the cops for a
Aw.
hero dog who has
Aw.
lost a leg
Oh.
and is no
Oh.
longer able to serve in the public face.
Call sign, tripod.
Tripod.
But
Oh yeah,
But-
that
but
goes
Ben,
with our naming theme. Like I was gonna be
perhaps-
Wham Bam.
perhaps a robotic leg that Joe can provide him, and that hero dog could still be of service.
Wow. At
to
the
the
beginning,
Jones.
Ben specifically
You know, I'm
said
down.
you couldn't play drone dog hybrids. So
Right?
that's
But you know what?
immediately
Now
what
it's my
Coda
game,
pitches.
and I'm saying
Ah,
yes. Let's do it.
But also, Ron, no, absolutely no mechanical benefit. You might as well have just slapped some armor onto a dog's leg, and that would be the same concept.
But then you'd have armor on your dog.
Sorry,
single
you
leg.
might as well have slapped some tin cans on Samus's leg, and boom, same concept.
Mm,
Okay.
It's a
I like
dog.
this.
but and its metal leg provides no mechanical benefit.
There you
All
go.
it does is set off the metal detector at the airport.
Yes.
Well, it
If you
was like,
shoot it, it
Occasionally-
immediately, just like a normal pod, totally breaks.
Mm.
It's
But,
very
like-
thin metal. Very thin.
Occasionally, though, there's this raccoon that is chasing you around trying to get the dog's fake leg.
well, it's no mechanical benefit compared to a normal leg, right? Because you would probably use it to walk with.
But like, interestingly, that's why I was kind of ho-humming about the like totally super covert, is because I was like, I kind of want my dog to be like the famous one.
That's
Like,
fine.
Everybody knows that dog, but
Everybody knows. So a lot of people know the dog. They have no idea who the rest of you are. I
Right.
love this. I love this, and I
Oh
give
my
it
gosh,
100%.
your dog looks just like that dog that was on the TV.
right.
Is your dog also like a Hollywood dog as well? And
If only those like as well trained as, but like, come on, no, Hollywood does not have like border collie levels of fame that it used to.
well, used to.
We're bringing it back. We're bringing it back.
Ooh, bringing it back.
Yeah.
All right. Does
Everything
anybody else
old is
want
new
to
again.
talk about their concept?
I'm rock solid with mine.
What does
And
that
Paige
mean?
has no interest in discussing it.
No, I just wanted to talk to Ben about it first.
I've given my blessing. Tell the world.
I want to play a former Cobra agent that has gone over to Joe,
Ooh.
who is a sniper and a commando and somewhat sneaky. Which
Uh,
does not do a whole lot for their reputation among Joe.
why is Paige's character always standing like way behind us somewhere?
Right? Right. No, it's just because I have the big gun. Don't worry about it.
yeah,
I'll catch up.
yeah.
I can already see it's the scene of the movie or the show where like we get the sniper's point of view down
Yeah,
the scope,
yeah,
and it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
like Paige's character's like singing along to her song as she's listening to the her headphones, and she's got her crosshairs on her back, and she's just like in her head. Doesn't actually transmit anything. That's just her own little thing.
You know.
And then she like scopes up and she's like, "Oh, I've got a target."
No, she didn't even have to have the rifle up. It's just the scope, just putting crosshairs on people.
In some part of that of my brain, while looking through the scope at all the threats, the song that was going was, "I've got a cup full of sunshine. I got a thing that is all mine. Oh, oh.
But if you play a sniper page, I don't want you to be missing. You need to be coming in with at least +9 on your shots.
I'm gonna try real hard.
You don't
At
even have
first
to.
level.
You don't even have to try that hard.
Wait, I thought you said that snipers don't even have to roll.
Yeah.
If you have +9 upshifts, you don't have to roll anymore.
Yep.
You just hit.
Ooh.
And if you have 10 upshifts, you auto crit.
If you roll and hit, as I recall, is that you still have to roll to confirm the auto crit. But I would have to check back. There was a certain amount of calculus that was done on auto hitting to make sure that
It wasn't super busted.
Mm.
well, it wasn't super busted, but also at higher level, especially once you get into some of the defense-minded characters, you can get into defenses that can only be hits reliably with auto hits.
Oh.
Ooh, Paige, Dragon Slayer, I think is your call sign.
Oh, I have
Mongoose.
Oh.
interesting. I was thinking twist, hollow point, parallax, reticle, or velocity. Kind of
So
like twist.
I know we didn't talk about it,
But
could our character or our listener interaction with our characters be they come up with our call signs?
that sounds good. I mean, we have to kind of make it so it's not going to be Bodie McBoatface, but
I see so much Bodie McBoatface.
Paige.
Like, how about
we can come up with a list
How
and
about
let
we
them
can- yeah, I was
vote
gonna
among
say.
the list.
we
Okay.
come up with a list
Okay.
and then we let them vote?
Could be. I like that.
I guess it's not the end of the world.
I really liked it when they were able to pick our ranger colors. Like that was fun.
That was fun.
Do snipers shoot hollow point bullets?
They can.
I know they can.
It depends on the job.
Yeah. I just looked that up as a matter of fact.
Oh, okay, cool.
Take that.
No, I was totally curious because I don't even remember what the benefit of hollow point bullets is.
So the physics of it is that when the bullet hits tissue, the head kind of peels back in a mushroom, and it makes a much larger hole through the.
Oh, so it's worse against armor, better at killing civilians.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, that's a good name for an ex-Cobra operative.
So I do like Dragon Slayer's pretty smart. Like they have come up with mongoose, like mongooses versus cobras.
Yeah, but mongooses are the heroes, and you're like a villain.
I mean, I'm working for the right people.
Suspicious.
Sus.
Full on sus.
Paige's
Full
character
on
is full
sus,
on
though.
sus.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Joe and or Ron, who wants to go next?
I was also thinking of being from a first responder type unit. Maybe
I mean, you go for Cliffhanger. We talked about it before the show.
the finger is pretty awesome.
Cliffhanger.
Maybe
You
I
don't
could
have to
be-
determine what it is right now. We're just talking generalities.
Yeah. Well, okay. So the thing is, I would be some sort of expert at driving some sort of vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could even be something like a Formula One driver. Well, that's not really first responder, but like I could drive like a boat for the Coast Guard, or I could do like
You'd be a rescue pilot.
like a chopper pilot for a rescue pilot.
I mean, if you're going that, like even ambulance driver or like there are, because I know there are like several cops that are traffic patrol have to do like how to do aggressive driving or like
like highway patrol.
or like how to do like the high-speed chases and what safety protocol is for that.
Mhm.
So you could just be like an expert in those regards.
Yeah, you could be part of like I know Atlanta has a big street racing deterrent force.
Hmm.
That might be kind of
I
interesting.
mean, that would put you on the wrong side versus the Toretto family, but
I don't know if I can handle that.
Wait, wasn't Brian originally a cop, and that was the whole drama that he was
It was in the
a
first,
cop
yeah,
and
in the
joining the
first one.
Toretto family?
Yep. He didn't actually join them. He joined them in the fourth movie. In the first movie, he was just being a cop, and at the
Yes.
very end, he let Vin Diesel go.
Yeah.
I'm
because he-
sorry,
walk
I
away.
just cut up the fact that we're on Too Fast, Too Furious.
I just dived right into it, man. It just
Where have you been, Mike? Where have you
I'm-
been?
I just impressed you
not
to keep
fast
the
enough,
movie
not furious
straight.
enough.
Yeah.
Well,
To
so
me-
here's the thing: you can tell how far along a Fast and Furious movie is on the chronology because are they? Fuck. Here we go. That was my one F-bomb
Yep.
for the show.
there you go.
Yeah.
Uh,
Do
Are
they have
they-
superpowers?
are they street racers or are they super spies?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's how you tell.
Mhm.
If they're street racers, it's early in the series. If they're all super spies, it's F9, which I'm currently watching, and it is
So good, so good.
it's both so good and so bad.
Yeah. I wish they were all in one streaming service because I don't even know which ones I have and haven't watched at this point.
Aren't they all on HBO?
They might be now.
A lot of them, yeah.
All right, I'll have to check that out then.
I'm currently subjecting Chris Russell and Jason to, and we only watched the first three, which is the best number to watch because the first three are the worst three, and it's
Oh my
just
God.
beautiful.
Wait, you don't like the first Fast and Furious?
The first
Oh,
one's
I
pretty
thought it
bad.
was okay.
I mean, like it's fine, but like it has no desire to be anything more than it is, right? It is Point Break, but with cars.
Yes.
That is what it is. End of line.
So what aspirations do later ones bring in if it's not too much of a spoiler?
Oh no, just total nonsense, right? Like
Oh, I see. Okay, I get it.
it's grounded, and then you slowly raise up till you're hovering in the air,
Okay.
jumping between buildings. It's great.
I see what you mean. It's not spectacular enough.
So if I am
Also, I was wrong. Only apparently F9, F6, and Tokyo Drift are on HBO.
Okay.
So-
Well, okay.
Isn't
I don't.
that 9, 6, and 2?
Not to derail our conversation, but I
think
don't think
three,
I don't
because
think I
it
want
was-
to be part of this street racer.
Wasn't it
What?
Fast and Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious, and then Tokyo Drift?
Oh, cool.
That's
So
correct.
it's
Yep.
only multiples of 3 that
or
are
we like
on
to call it
HBO.
3 Fast, 3 Furious.
Sorry,
I
Ron,
mean-
you were saying.
No, I was just maybe maybe I'll fly like a helicopter for like this park people, like a rescue helicopter.
Ooh.
Oh, sure.
Sure.
Like Mountain Rescue
Yeah.
they're tough folks.
So I got to go in to basically pick up stranded rich people. Let's just be. But because there's all the wind shears and stuff when you're flying your
Mhm.
mountains,
Yep.
and
I just want to say we have come full circle back to Cliffhanger.
We have. We have come full
But,
circle
like,
back to
It's
Cliffhanger.
very true.
but my character saves cliffhangers.
Mm.
Like if you're hanging from a cliff, you want to see my character coming because I will
Yeah, well,
get you
there was
off the cliff.
the old dude who was the helicopter pilot.
Yeah,
So now you're them.
I guess.
You
Or
know, upon going full circle, I was just be
Yeah.
like, and we've gone full circle. This is all, but we still have to grill Joe about his character concept. So
That's true. How are you
If
going
I am
to
an
hire
officer,
us? Yes.
it will be I think member of the Air Force,
All right.
probably who was originally like has a certain amount of wanderlust.
Mm.
If I'm a Vanguard, it'll be something totally different.
cool.
I mean, would it be too much for you and Andrew to at least decide on roles tonight?
I
Or-
don't want to put a pressure to decide on one night because we still have 3 or 4 weeks of Power Rangers left.
That's true.
We got
I
time
would
to
like
discuss.
I would like to firm up character stuff in the next 2 weeks. And so maybe in 2 weeks we have we devote a portion of the show to update viewers on where we're at on G.I. Joe characters. But I
We
think
can also
we have the benefit of time, and let's make sure we use that.
Yeah.
we
I
can
agree.
also like update in Porch Lag as we play Power Rangers as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
True.
Just as a real quick reminder, as I'm looking through the influence, the influence is you can take more than one influence, but when you take your second, you get the hang up. Is that correct?
Yes. So you can take up to 3 influences. Your first one's free, and then after that, you get the hang up associated with the second and also the third influence if you go that far.
Gotcha. Okay. Really eyeballing both professional and a specialist.
I mean, let me say, as someone who, when we designed the system, I was like, I'm never going to have more than 1 influence. Why would I take a penalty? And then Arasi had 3 influences because I'm just like, these all make sense.
Well,
And it can be fun having penalties.
Yeah.
yeah.
It is having fun. It is fun having imperfect characters that have penalties.
It
Not-
adds a certain je ne sais quoi.
Not to mention, like, just looking over specialist, the influence perk that comes with it is way better than anything I saw in Power Rangers. Like, this one gives you a skill specialization. That's huge.
Well, when you choose this influence, select a skill that you have a specialization in.
Oh, did I read that wrong?
Once
I
per an
read that
encounter,
wrong.
when using that skill outside of combat, you gain edge.
Okay,
Mike,
well,
Reading is fundamental, Mike.
reading is both fun and mental.
Really?
It is both of those things.
Really, Mike?
Look, it
Really?
is 10 o'clock. I have been up since 5 a.m.
Is that a message that
So-
you?
I don't
you
know
can't
if
get?
up since is accurate given your total
I
full
did.
unconsciousness.
I did. Okay,
Mm.
so as we kind of segue
did
into
have
Porch Lag here,
And
No, I got
unplanned
home
unplanned
today.
Christmas bid.
and I sat down on the couch, fully intending to watch an episode of Moon Knight,
Mhm.
and the next thing I know, Joe is like telling me to wake up, and if we don't order food now, we're gonna starve to death. So
Was
you
he
know.
wrong?
It's very dangerous times over in that house.
Yeah.
I mean, given your schedule, I'm surprised you're not a napper, but I know that
Mm.
it's not really your bag.
I find it really disorienting because if I take naps in the afternoons, it's generally one of those things where I fall asleep while it's daylight and then I wake up while it's not daylight, and that is the worst feeling.
Then only death.
It's not good.
I understand.
Well, as we seek into Porch Lag, I feel like we have done a really good job of coming up with most of our character concepts, talking about what's important for us in the game, sharing some of the table responsibilities, and also learning about each other with some of those
Aw.
icebreaker questions.
Yay!
Yay!
So,
I
I
love
say
you guys.
mission
So
successful.
touchy-feely. And we even used our card system.
We
We
did
did.
several,
And,
several times.
And I'm a little sad that Andrew's the one
Times.
that broke us, but
Yep.
gotta tip my hat.
Yep. That's what I'm here for. I've come up with all the existential dreads of the modern world and just shoved them in your face like some kind of
Swoosh
monster.
Fin was up earlier.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
feel
it's
you,
also
Swoosh
true.
Fin. Sorry.
Also true.
So,
Y'all. Oh, good.
I was just going to say, there are a couple places where there's a little bit of overlap. For instance, if you are nobody said they planned on being an army character, but both the army character and the infantry gets training in all basic weapons or all standard weapons.
Mm-hmm.
There's something in the living fac that instead replaces 2 instances of the same effect with, if you have both, you gain a general perk, a specific general perk instead that gives you training in some limited weapons.
Oh, that's really good.
I will say the only reason I went with first responder over army is just because I'm slightly more familiar with like canine unit in a more civilian setting than with an army setting.
Mhm.
Here's the thing. I don't think any of us, and if I am wrong, by all means, let me know. I don't think any of us served in any military, nor do we have firsthand experience of what it's like to be in that environment. I would like to
did
bring this
watch
up.
Hurt Locker about a year ago.
So while you did stay in a Holiday Inn Express last night,
Thank you, Ben.
I want to point out to everybody here and now, and we'll reinforce this later, none of us are experts in this. We're a bunch of gamers having fun. This is going to be way closer to a Fast and Furious movie than it is to a
Tom
gripping
Clancy novel.
Tom Clancy novel. Will there be bits of both? Yes. Are we going to get things wrong? Also, yes. It is not out of disrespect. It is 100% out of having fun together playing this game.
Speak for yourself. I spend my off days ruining people's credit.
I believe,
It's
sir.
mostly your own, though.
At least you
People.
stop with the Kickstarters. That's
People's.
definitely
Yeah,
helps.
that was Woo. Woo.
It was a dark time in the credit history.
Ooh, okay, I got it, y'all.
What?
I am a Air Force animal trainer.
Uh-huh. So like falcons and
Put that dog in a cockpit.
No.
I mean,
Wait,
you're
so the
also
dog's
looking
going
at-
to be the pilot? You're stepping on my shtick now.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
There's
Wait, what?
actually there's specific rules in the G.I. Joe book about making your dog a pilot.
What?
Are there seriously?
Yeah, they generally
that's
say
amazing.
that's stupid. But
Oh.
But no.
Dang.
but they do
What?
they do
Savage burn.
Mm.
no, but they
Pretty
do like
sick.
outline the situations where it is something you could do. But
Good
they,
thing we have 2 first responders here for all these burns.
but they phrase it in such a way that it's a little ridiculous.
Violence. I wasn't prepared for all this violence.
Despite Air Bud the movie.
Yeah, kind of. I did a lot of the background research for those kind of things, and I guarantee you, the Air Force trains dogs for use for military police at their bases,
Sure.
and I'm sure they also train dogs for drug interdiction too.
Like, I mean, that's very similar to Army, although I think
Yeah.
Army might have slightly more search and rescue operatives as far
Probably.
as dog training
I
goes.
would imagine that they do,
Yep.
Probably.
just because of math,
Yep.
Cool. I'm
Yay.
excited.
Cool. I'm excited to travel on this journey with all of you.
But gonna
Yay.
be fun.
And all the people in our audience.
Wherever
will-
there is trouble, we will be there.
We're going to thwart Cobra and also shadowy organizations that we don't know anything about yet.
It's true. It's true.
Except for Paige, who definitely knows about them.
Yes. She'll...
hmm
Oh.
Maybe she's the leader of the shadowy organization.
Oh.
Wait,
Double backflip.
is Paige the villain all along?
Yes.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, the mastermind behind it.
And that's
I
pretty
didn't realize
dangerous
Brian
considering,
Schoner was playing with us.
considering
Yeah.
she can't miss.
I mean, guys, Paige.
I like the idea that the chair turns around and it's just Paige.
Oh no, she is
It's not
stroking a
Paige's
cat.
character.
She is stroking a cat.
Come here, cat.
I
it's-
think
They both
Orc,
disappeared.
Orc
As soon
Street
as you say
Sam-
"come here, cat," that's just oh no.
Hmm.
They know to run away.
Baby.
Y'all,
You're-
I think Orc Street Sam might have the right of it on how we got it in the stream tonight.
What's that?
Instead of our usual follow us to adventure, are we yo-joing?
I think
can
we
do
are.
Joe.
I mean,
Ooh.
I'm down for that.
Ooh.
You have to start the yo, and we'll all come up with the Joe.
I just want to point out that Yojo is in fact a perk that every roll gets.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I kind
Ooh.
of like that how that is done. I like how it's phrased too. It's like
Yeah.
you get these free perks because you're
Mhm.
better than an ordinary person.
It's true.
That's right. Well, I don't know. Are we ending with Yojo? Or are we ending with half the battle? No, it's half the battle.
Ooh.
Like,
Yeah.
now you're just
Yeah.
you're switching it up on us.
Really just opening up all kinds of. Well, I mean, we have to have some sort of message, right, about not sticking
Yeah.
your finger into an electric
Sizzle
outlet
stock
or
it or
not
don't,
drinking kerosene or
Don't trust Andrew with your credit
yeah.
score.
Oh, what? No. Let me
No, it's great. Remember, kids, never share your password with anyone online.
just co-sign this loan with me.
Never share your password with anyone online. Knowing is half the battle.
It's fine. I'll do all of the like animal safety ones.
I'm gonna come up with all the identity theft
I
ones.
can do all the vehicle safety ones.
I feel like now everyone's going to have to end an episode with a PSA, and now that's just going to
Like
have to be a
if you've
thing.
been drinking, first try and walk in a straight line. If you can, then you're probably fine.
That is not how that works.
I mean,
That's
Joe,
not how anything
I'm
works.
not trained at that. I'm just doing my best as a Joe.
What is
Wait.
wrong with you?
it's great if Joe does go commander. He can be all like the like how to be a team leader or team
Mhm.
player, like the teamwork ones. And Paige,
If you're being bullied at school, this is what you need to do.
I feel like I'm being bullied right now.
Oh,
And on that
You
note,
need-
yo,
Joe!
don't hold any of this against us, anybody.
Yes, don't hold anything against us. Thank you for joining us for session 0. We will be back with Power Rangers next week. Once again, being run by our fearless GM Joe. Oh, Joe is holding up a finger. What's
No,
up?
I'm not in this state next week.
Oh,
Oh,
Well,
Joe is
can
not
you
in this state
also-
next week.
Can you also not
are
run
you
for us?
more of a liquid or gaseous?
Yeah, exactly. I'm
He's
gonna be very
plasma.
gaseous.
Plasma?
Yeah.
Yes, our brains think alike.
Yes.
No, I'm gonna be in North Carolina, so I'm not gonna have the
Yeah.
appropriate equipment to run.
North
Okay,
Carolina.
we
Why would
will
you- why
play
would you go
some in a
there?
video game.
but if you're
Yeah.
also in the state of North Carolina, find Joe and get his autograph.
Yeah,
True.
And ask him
And-
for his password, because in person it's okay.
steal his identity.
Mhm.
No,
Please do. Please
no,
do.
stop saying these
No.
things. I'm going to turn this show around.
Like, what happened to this? Is worse than gelato, I think.
No, it's
The
not.
more
No, it's
you
not.
know.
Don't put that evil on me. Thank you very much for joining us, everybody. Love you bunches.
Bye.
Bye.
I never